The Blazers are gone. Not from Portland, but they did find a buyer. Sixers fans would love Joel Embiid to go off the injured list. We have an update on his status from Nick Nurse. And we finish up the first round of our tournament of moves to find the best signature move in the history of the NBA. That's all today on Locked On NBA.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On NBA. Thanks so much for making us your first listen of the day. We are free. We are available wherever you get your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season, it's around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now. I'm Doug Branson, host of Locked On Hornets and your Shot Clock Sherpa, guiding you through the NBA's biggest stories every day with the help of Locked On's local experts. And I have two of the best with me, as always, from the Locked On Nuggets podcast. He's a senior NBA writer for the Action Network. It's Matt Moore. Matt.
Lots of great discussion online on social media about our bracket, which I'm very excited about. We are controlling the narrative here, Doug. And the important thing that from everyone's perspective is that you did a terrible job seeding these matchups. So good job.
We're owning the summer and everyone's owning my choices for seeding the bracket. That's fine. If that's what, but this is what I've come to realize. Everyone wants to argue it. And I think this is true for college basketball tournament too. Everyone loves to argue the seeding, just like everyone loves the transaction more than the games themselves. I would just encourage you to dig into these matchups and argue about that. And tell me I'm right. Maybe Hayes will. From the Locked On Bulls podcast. He's also a Bears and Bulls creator for Bleacher Report. It's Hayes.
And Doug did the best that he could. Now, I mean, granted, were there some gaps there that were left in the seating? Yeah, but we're gonna Doug, that's my producer. I'm always gonna back Doug. There you go on that one.
Well, the funny part of that is that Hayes and I are both like, hey, we love Doug. He did the best job he can and definitely didn't ask us to review it and go over any of these things to make sure there weren't problems. And we were both like, yeah, it looks good, whatever. That definitely didn't happen.
That's right. No one blames the rubber stamp. Okay, let's get to some quick hits. We will talk about, it's our final two matchups of the first round, or final four matchups of the first round, I should say. We'll get to those later in the show. We'll argue about that. But first, let's do some quick hits from around the NBA and the Locked On NBA network of podcasts. The Portland Trail Blazers finally found a buyer. Tom Dundon, the owner of the NHL's Carolina Hurricanes, has agreed to buy the Blazers for just north of $4 billion. Locked On Blazers host Mike Richmond quickly did his research on Dundon and immediately found something in a Sports Business Journal article that would strike fear in the heart of a sports fan. Take a listen.
Dundon is known as being among the most hands-on bosses in the league. He bristles at this characterization. I don't even live here, he says, but those he's closest to in the organization aren't afraid to say so. Oh, no. Oh, no. Listen, I think the number one thing that good ownership can do is hire the right people and get out of the way. There's almost no examples of a very hands-on, very involved ownership group having success, consistent success in the league. You need to hire basketball people, the right basketball people, and get out of the way. And then you need to make swift decisions. If those basketball people turn out not to be the right people, then you need to make good, smart hires and not just hire people who went to Michigan State. You got to hire the right people and get out of the way. That's number one job of good ownership.
The slight jab there at the Phoenix Suns. Hayes, I saw you shaking your head while Mike Richmond was waxing poetic on the role of an owner. Are Blazers fans right to be a little bit nervous about what came up in that Sports Business Journal article, or can an activist owner work in the NBA?
I mean, I do think an active owner can work in the NBA. I think Mark Cuban during his time was pretty active. So it's not that it can't happen. I just think that the it's probability versus possibility in that case. Is it possible? Yeah. Is it probable? I don't think so. I think you typically do want an owner that is engaged enough and in tune enough to where they know when things are going left and things need to change, meaning that they may need to fire the president of basketball operations or something like that. You don't want an owner that just kind of does what the Bulls do and just let the president of basketball operations run the franchise further into hell. But so you want to have someone that is in touch enough to know when things need to change, but also is aware enough to trust the people that he put into place to do their jobs.
Hey, he's beat me to it. I was going to say that all you really want is someone that doesn't want the White Sox to win and doesn't care about the Bulls. I think I'm actually going to go against this. I think it's better to have an activist owner. And what I mean by that is, look, when we look at owners meddling, the problem is when they meddle on the money side. It's very rare that owners meddle on the basketball side, and it's a problem. Like if an owner comes out and is like, I want you to draft this guy because he went to my college. Okay, sure, that's a problem. But the Suns didn't even do that, right? They drafted Malawash. They didn't move up to get Jace Richardson. So I think an activist owner cares. The problem is when it's like Dolan, who's like, I don't care how you do it. Just get me stars. That's dumb. That's a bad approach versus like, hey, I want to be in the room. I want to be involved. The other thing I would say is we have a lot of owners that also own NHL teams, and not all of them are like this with all of their teams. The way that Ted Leonsis runs the Capitals is very different from how he runs the Wizards. And so I don't think you can necessarily project that the guy is going to be the same type of owner, because usually it's that they care more about one than the other. That I think is a bigger concern here than whether he's an activist or not.
All right, let's move on to the Philadelphia 76ers. A lot of people care about whether or not Joel Embiid will get back onto the floor and for how many games this upcoming season. We did get an update on his injury status from head coach Nick Nurse. Let's kick it to the fellas at Locked On 76ers with the quote and their thoughts.
Nick Nurse, quote, all the news is positive. I know he's working very, very hard, and I think things look good. Whether he's ready for training camp or not, I think there is maybe a lot more decisions than that to make before we get there. But our main thing is that he's healthy to play and play to his best capabilities, because he's awesome. No doubt about that. I don't want to see Joel Embiid unless he's 100%. And what's going to drive me absolutely crazy is if Joel Embiid plays his first game in late December or something like that, and later on, a month later, he's got to have load management, or he's got to miss a handful of games, and he says, I didn't come back at 100%. I was really at like 85 and 90, but I wanted to come back for the city and for this team. It's like, no! This was on your terms, clearly defined on your terms.
I would not be surprised if Joel Embiid played in fewer than 40 games.
I'm with I am going to be surprised, Keith, if we see Joel Embiid before January 1st. I am going to be surprised at that, which, that also means even more drama.
All right, Matt, how many games does Joel Embiid need to play to give you hope that they could be a top 6 seed in the playoffs? Is it more than 40?
Yeah, I think so. Look, part of the problem here is you can't build a team if you don't have continuity. Those guys have to know how to play around him. It can be easier because Joel is so dominant without it being easy. You have to understand floor spacing. You have to understand timing. You have to understand execution. And you can't duplicate Joel with anybody in the league, let alone anybody on the roster. There's no real way to do this. You've got to be able to have some baseline of understanding how to play together in order for you to execute the highest level. You don't have to have it be like he plays all 70, but there's a gap between 70 and 40, I think, that they've got to be able to get to. They're the host talking about, like, I don't want to see Joel unless he's 100%. You've never seen Joel at 100%. He's never been 100%. He hasn't been 100% since college, since the first time he had the injuries. There is no world where he's going to be 100%. And once you start from that position, you're just deciding the level of degree of compromise if you're going to see him at all.
100% agree with Matt. The Joel Embiid. Well, I think we may have to change what is Joel Embiid 100% now. Joel Embiid at 100% at this point, at this age, with the injuries he had, is probably closer to like what 80% of a prime Joel Embiid was. Like that's the new 100% for Joel. As far as the number of games played, like I wouldn't be surprised if it's something 40. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 60. The thing to me is that he needs to be healthy when it matters the most. And that's in the playoffs. And you have to ask yourself, what do you have to do to get to the playoffs this year? And then can you get Joel Embiid healthy over that point in time so you can finally have a healthy playoff run from Joel Embiid? This is a Philadelphia 76ers team where I like a lot of this roster. I don't know how it's going to fit together. Don't know how it's going to look on the basketball court, but I like a lot of it. And I think you have to build this roster and plan things for without Joel. And you have to ask yourself, how competitive are we without Joel Embiid? All right, cool. Now Joel Embiid can, when he's healthy, can take us a little bit further than that. Just trying to bet on 100% Joel Embiid or asking for 100% healthy Joel Embiid, that's at this point is like asking to meet Santa Claus. It's never going to happen.
That's interesting, Matt. Do you sort of agree there that, like, if you're Nick Nurse, do you go to some of these young players like McCain and Maxey, or even somebody like Paul George, and say, listen, low key, just play like he's never coming back. Like, we just need to get into that mindset of, like, let's find a way to win without Joel Embiid. And if he comes back, we'll deal with that when he gets back.
Yes. You can build multiple structures within an offensive system. The Raptors did this with Kawhi Leonard, where it was like, there was like a whole, like, it was Kawhi and Danny Green 2-man game. And then there was a Raptors, right? So build the Sixers and then have Joel and you know, he can work with Maxey, have that be kind of an additional kind of structure, but they've got to be able to, they can't rely on that. Now, I still think that there's going to be a problem, as I mentioned at the end of this, which is if Joel's playing 40 minutes in a playoff game, how are you going to be able to execute? And this is the other balance, which is, hey, we got to save him because we got to make sure that he's healthy for the playoffs. But you won't be as good as you need to be for the playoffs if you don't have him there to be able to build that continuity and how it works. It's an impossible situation. There's no villain. There's no one to blame. It just sucks, but this is how it is, and I don't know how to solve it.
We had the process Sixers, and now we may have the shadow Sixers, this other alternate universe team of the Sixers without Joel Embiid. If he doesn't come back before January 1st, that does mean that he will not be a part of the Philadelphia 76ers NBA Cup group play action. They've got 2 national TV games. We got to look into the NBA Cup schedule, and the full schedule releases later today. We'll talk more about the schedule coming up. Plus, we wrap up the first round of our tournament of moves to find the best signature move in NBA history. We've got scoops, hawks, Jimbos, and rondos. Who's moving on? Find out next. Today's episode of Locked On NBA is brought to you by FanDuel. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day. It's a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or you're just ready to crown your Super Bowl champion before Week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. Take a flyer on the MVP race. That's what I'm doing. I'll be taking my flyer on Jaden Daniels because selfishly, he's my fantasy quarterback and I want to manifest greatness for my team. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now at FanDuel.com because Futures Day is one day and one day only. Again, that's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. More Locked On NBA ahead. Thanks for making Locked On NBA your first listen every day. Before we get to our tournament of moves, I want to get some NBA schedule thoughts as we continue to get the drip, drip, drip of national TV games over the course of this week before the full schedule releases later today. The NBA Cup schedule was released yesterday. Hayes, where are you with the NBA Cup as we head into year 3? Do you like it? Do you think it needs to change? Who should really go after this thing in a way that we saw the Indiana Pacers do last season?
The last part, I'll get to that. I thoroughly enjoy the NBA Cup, and I was somebody who, when this was initially announced, I was like, oh, okay. I doubt this is going to be exciting, but I think NBA Cup games have taken on an identity of their own as you know, over the 2 years that we've had it so far. And these teams, we see them really do compete. The point differential, the fact that matters, I think that has played a part in these matchups so far. So NBA Cup games have been very interesting and very exciting for me. As far as who do I think should go for it and take it, I'm going to say the Orlando Magic. Not that it matters anything for what their postseason is going to be or it makes them any bigger, stronger NBA title contenders, but I think the Magic with this with this team that they have, with having Desmond Bane there, how bad they were as a shooting team last season, I think if the Orlando Magic go on an early run early in the season and win the NBA Cup can give them some momentum to go into the rest of the season.
I have some concern. I love this tournament. I love having something else for teams to play for. I love the different courts when they're not red or gray. I love just having something that puts these games like with a little bit more meaning. But last season, I felt like the excitement dropped off a lot, and I felt like even though when you look, what's most concerning to me is when you look at the bracket and it's like you got Rockets Thunder, which is like a pretty like those teams do not like one another. You get the Bucks in there. You had Trae Young upsetting the Knicks. Like you had these teams. And yet there wasn't enough juice. So what you really need is like you need an opportunity for more rivalries to kind of come out of this. And that's why I'm kind of sad the Pacers aren't going to have Halliburton, because those teams in the East all hate that Pacers team now. The Cavs hate them. The Bucks hate them. The Knicks hate them. And we really needed the villain in the Eastern Conference to be able to make another run since the Pacers came up short in the final 2 years ago. I think I'm a little bit concerned about whether this thing is going to have enough juice. I also kind of think that the players are a little annoyed that it's so early in the season rather than being later in the year because of how it's impacted the schedule. I'll be interested to see, but I am still optimistic because, look, the games are good and it's a fun environment. I think overall it's still a net win for the NBA.
All right, the full schedule releases later today. Matt, what should, if you're a fan of a team and you're looking at the schedule, what are the kinds of things you're looking at as you look over the full 82?
When do you get that break is a big one, because they started doing this thing where you basically have 4 to 5 days off in November and December, and it was built around the Cup. It's kind of like your bye week. Now, they should not do it in November and December. They should do it in January and February when these teams are wanting to die. But I do think when you get that break is important. Don't look at the schedule in terms of, oh man, we play the Rockets and the Thunder and the blah, 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 blah. No, don't do that. You don't know where those teams are going to be. They could be completely banged up and it could be fine. And you don't know if they're coming off of bad rest spots too. Look at the density. Look up how many games there are in a certain stretch of time. There's a great app you can find at positiveresidual.com. He's got a calendar app up that allows you to kind of break these things down. It's the best way for you to kind of analyze the schedule. It also tells you, do you have more or less games with more back-to-backs, and do you have more or less games of rest advantage versus rest disadvantage? This is how you kind of dictate how your season goes. The last thing is take a look and see which teams you play 4 times in conference that are outside of your division. If you play a team for instance, if you play the Atlantic Division 4 times, you could be in a really good spot here. If you're going to play the Central, it might be a little bit more tough. So that's the kind of look at how to analyze the schedule when you want to know how your team's going to do this season.
Hayes, will the Bulls' schedule reveal when they will finally get this Josh Giddey deal done?
Well, I mean, if you take anything from Modest Buzelis' Instagram post, it's going to be happening sooner rather than later. He had a cryptic post with Josh Giddey. He added Josh Giddey with the pencil and contract emoji. So hopefully that's happened sooner rather than later, because I'm tired of talking about. We've gone through every possible scenario with Josh Giddey's contract, so that would lead me to think the teams and the agents have too. Just sign the contract. Just sign it.
I do want to make a note. I do have it on my calendar here. The schedule comes out at 3:00 Eastern. At 3:01, the Bulls will be confirmed for the play-in.
So. Well, you can confirm it now. What are we waiting to confirm that for, Matt?
You have the actual games before we do that.
No, why? It will be the 9th seed, be around 38, 39 wins. It's the same thing every year.
All right. Let us know what you think on YouTube, youtube.com/@LockedOnNBA. You can check out Locked On NBA Game Night. They'll get first crack at the schedule, and then we'll be back tomorrow to talk more about it as well. Let's move on to our tournament of moves. We've got some 4-13 matchups to get to. Dr. J and his reverse scoop layup that was known colloquially as the move in the 1980 finals versus LeBron James's Tomahawk Slam, which has been featured in many finals by LeBron James. The YouTube vote is in, and the scoop layup wins 71-29, but that's only 1/3 of the decision here. We leave it to Matt and Hayes to get the other votes to move these on. Hayes, start us off. What do you think about this matchup? You've got Dr. J's scoop, which was a moment in a finals, versus LeBron James's Tomahawk, which he has unleashed on every team and nearly every player.
I'm really surprised that this vote went the way that it did, to be honest with you, because usually a dunk, especially a dunk by one of the greatest players to ever play the game of basketball, is going to garner more votes. So shout out to the NBA, the fans that voted on this, that the fact that Dr. J Scoop layup is winning here. But I'm going to go against the grain here, and not that I don't understand. It was an absolute amazing moment. But LeBron James' Tomahawk Slam is just one of the most physical moves in basketball for a little bit of time. It's just like he did it. Was it a little bit of a front run sometimes? And maybe you look at it and say, well, who's physically going to stop LeBron when he gets a chance to get that tomahawk slam? And I understand that, but I think I'm still going to vote on the LeBron one here. LeBron gets my vote here.
I've lobbied to include this tomahawk dunk because I think it is more iconic than another move we'll talk about from LeBron. It's the one that I will remember the most is like when if you were to make the logo among the candidates would have to be LeBron cocking the ball back because of how far he gets on that extension, full sideways, and the way that he poses for the camera in midair and then lands. Like if we did an actual like one-time shot, right? Like if we did a bracket of just one shot, then the one of him with Wade is absolutely iconic, that lob. But come on. If you've not seen it, go look up all these moves if you have not seen them, because they are worth watching over and over and over again. And like what kills me is the one-handed nature of this move by Dr. J. Like the fact that it's this one-handed absolute showcase, got the ball hanging out there, shows it to him. And then, by the way, an underrated part of this is that hanging out under the rim is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Now, they didn't win those finals, but for me, that is a move that it gets more amazing every single time that you watch it. And most of LeBron's are breakaways because who is getting in the way of that freight train when it's coming down the lane? So the fact that he was able to finish it past two defenders for Dr. J, I will give him the scoop layup as the winner.
Oh, wow. All right. Matt breaks the tie and advances Dr. J. It is a battle between grace and power. And I think that's what this vote comes down to. Do you like the power game or do you like the grace, the ballet, the athleticism that was required for Dr. J to get this off? I do find it interesting, Matt, you bring that up, how far the ball is away from his body, LeBron, when he makes that dunk. Same thing with Dr. J too. Like if you look at that move, the extension that he gets to scoop it, and a couple of other moves, the sky hook, Iverson's crossover, like the wing, he brings the ball like way up almost above his head when he does that crossover. There's something interesting there with these moves that are advancing, the ball being far away from the person. I don't know, just making an observation there. We did get some comments on YouTube on this from John Craig 4820 saying because there's not as much ABA footage, we don't see the doctor's peak play. I think it's part of why Kareem has risen in people's estimate and he hasn't. In the 70s, we thought Dr. J was the best active player. The Kareem Lakers were bad until Magic arrived. How about that take? And then from @Daniel K6664, WTF, rose-tinted glasses, that tomahawk clears a layup. So Daniel with Hayes. Sorry, Hayes. Power didn't win this time. Giving me the MJ shrug. All right, coming up.
Can't win them all.
Coming up, we'll get to some 5-12 matchups, including the Iceman, George Gervin's finger roll versus Dame's logo 3, and the other 4 versus 13. Kobe makes an appearance. LeBron makes another appearance. He's double dipping on this episode of Locked On NBA. Stick with us. Thanks again for making Locked On NBA your first listen every day. We are making our way through the final matchups of the first round in our Locked On NBA tournament of moves. Go to Twitter and follow Matt Moore if you haven't already at HP Basketball. He posted today the full bracket, and after today, I will update the bracket for Friday and advance all of the winners of the first round. But let's find out who these final winners are. And we start with George Gervin, the Iceman, and his finger roll in a 5 seed versus Damian Lillard in the 12 seed with his logo 3. The YouTube vote is in, and it's 62-38 in favor of Iceman. This is an old head show. The old heads are winning right now. Matt, we'll start with you. Set this matchup up for us.
I'm going to go with Dame. I'm taking the Dame logo 3. Look, there are more instances of iconic moments of Dame hitting that shot. People have a lot of different moments of remembering that the shots that he's hit. Oh, I remember when I was at this game. I'm a huge Bucks fan. I was at this game and he nailed his logo 3. Oh, I was in Denver, and like he's done it in so many different arenas. He's got the Paul George shot. That was a bad shot. He's got the Rockets game winner, which I think was near The logo may have been shorter. The fact that he's able to hit it so seamlessly, and it's crazy because I kind of think of this as like Steph's move, but we gave him the relocation 3. But Dame, it's not just the fact that he hits that shot. It's that he hits that shot in clutch time and then taps the wrist. And that combo to me is really unstoppable. Go look at the Iceman finger roll. I wanted to give credit to the old. I wanted to be a classicalist, a purist, and go back and be like, what was awesome was George Gervin and the Iceman. That finger roll that he uses, Hayes, it's short. He's low off the ground. He's far away, and he doesn't get the full extension. I would not say it's the best finger roll I've ever seen. So I cannot give it to him. I'm going to go with, I think Iceman's underrated, but I'm giving it to the Dame logo 3.
Oh, that was a heavy sigh right there, Hayes. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in Matt Moore there. I did not expect him to go this way. I'm a little disappointed. The reason I track the reason. I understand completely. I don't agree because I'm going George Iceman Gervin here. He's going to advance here. I think that it's just more iconic. Like not to take it. Everything you said is correct. Like Dame, the way that he's hit the logo 3, the big shots that he's made over the course of his career. But I do think that there is a little bit of mixing in the several big shots that Dame's hit with the logo 3. Not every big shot, some of the biggest shots that Dame has hit, most important ones have not been. I'd go the shot over James Harden in the playoffs before I go. If that was here, I'd put that over the Iceman's finger roll. But I'm going Gervin here. Gervin's just so iconic. It is an amazing move, and regardless if he didn't get that much that high off the ground and do it, it's just beautiful. It's just so smooth and elegant. I got to pick this.
What's prettier, that finger roll or Tony Parker's teardrop?
Tony Parker's teardrop. I'll go Tony Parker's teardrop there.
And he's not even on our bracket. So I'm just saying.
There were a couple of moves that people have pointed out. We pointed out after the show yesterday, Derrick Rose's floater didn't make it. There are a couple. Let us know in the comments. The moves that we missed. Everyone's having fun with things that I didn't put on the bracket or things that I put incorrectly on the bracket. So go ahead and join the party, youtube.com/@LockedOnHornets. Locked On NBA. I can take it. I can take it on Locked On Hornets too. Let's move on. Oh, by the way, I would vote for Dame's logo 3. I don't get a vote, but I would vote for the logo 3 because I think it represents a moment in NBA history where the game began to morph and change. It's an advantage creator for an offense, how it spaces a defense, and it's a game ender. Like if you care about W's, that's a game ender. Iceman's finger roll, I don't know how many game winners he got on it, but I would venture to say Dame has ended more games with the logo 3. But it is decided, George Gervin, he is moving on. History prevails, and now we go to another 4 versus 13 matchup. It's Kobe's baseline fadeaway, which we made a distinction between his baseline fadeaway and Michael Jordan's post fadeaway. And Kobe's going up against Kevin Durant's Hezi Jimbo, his hesitation pull-up J. YouTube has spoken. It's 70-30 in favor of Kobe. I don't think that's going to surprise anyone on this show. Kobe, still very popular. And he gets the win 70-30. But what say you, gentlemen? Matt, we'll start with you. Kobe's baseline fadeaway versus KD's Hezi Jimbo.
It's Kobe's fadeaway. This is the shot that I think of with Bryant. If you really dig into, there's a lot of other shots that kind of stand out on the highlights. But if you actually go back and you watch what he got to the most, it was this one. Then he was killer from here. For all of the very correct criticisms of Kobe Bryant's efficiency, he was absolutely lethal from this baseline range. It was nearly behind the backboard, and it's not just the footwork that he uses to get with it. He's got that little ball fake at the top of it too, just to get the defender a little bit confused and drop back a little bit. And the beauty of it is one of the most beautiful shots that you're ever going to see in the history of watching basketball. I have a lot of criticisms of Kobe Bryant for a lot of reasons, but I have to give him this one. This was an absolutely incredible basketball move. It's the best baseline fadeaway in NBA history.
Yeah, Kobe wins easily here, and it got more dangerous as his career went on. As Kobe added kind of more post moves to his game, it made that baseline fadeaway even more dangerous in his bag. And everything Matt said was correct there. It's beautiful, it was effective, and it is one of the most iconic moves in NBA history. And no slight to KD. KD says he is great and it's dangerous too. But I think Kobe did the baseline fadeaway in more important moments, more consistently, and he won more doing it. So I'm going to go Kobe here as well.
Doug, what does it mean that we don't really have another, we do the KD Hezzy Jimbo because of the tweet, right? Mm-hmm. But like we don't really have like an iconic shot for him. Like we don't have. It's just like he just pulled up. He was 7 feet tall. He pulls up from everywhere and he makes it everywhere. Now I've argued that I think KD is the best basketball player of all time. Not greatest, but skill wise, I think he's the best. I think he has to be in that conversation for the best. If you put the combination of everything he does and like how few weaknesses he has, but he doesn't really have like a signature move, right?
Yeah, I wonder if we did a graph of like freakiness in terms of a player's dimensions, their wingspan and different things, and how signature a move they need. Because I wonder if there's just some level of like, if you don't have all of the physical tools, the gifts that KD has to get separation, to create that, like you may need to get more creative. You may need to do things like Dame pulled up from the logo because he knew nobody was going to guard him from there until they started to. But like he used that to his advantage. KD can really pull up from anywhere. And that's the one argument I think you could make for this Hezzy Jimbo move, is that he could unleash it almost anywhere on the floor. Whereas Kobe's baseline fadeaway was really, I mean, there were hot spots where he could hit that.
Well, and like Hayes, you know, I did all these scales when I wrote about this over at the Substack about like unguardability and like like consistency, effectiveness. Like we both know KD's jumper goes in more often than Kobe's baseline did. Like he's more efficient. He just is. So I think it's interesting that on some level of this, and like the first factor that I said on there is like, how cool was it? And Kobe's baseline fadeaway is cooler than KD's Hezzy Jimbo. But that doesn't also mean that like KD's more effective. That's like an interesting kind of parallel here where we think that this is a greater move despite KD being able to be like, yeah, but mine went in more. It's a tough one.
It's not all effectiveness. I mean, people are voting with their eyes, their brain, their memory, and their heart. I mean, I think all of that kind of comes together, and what they think about the player. I mean, it's impossible to move past that bias. Really quickly, let's get to our final matchup here. LeBron James's chase down block versus Rajon Rondo's fake, his pass fake. So I think this is the reason I did this matchup in particular, because I thought it was predator versus prey. With LeBron, he's chasing down, blocking the shot. Rondo, he's the prey. He's being chased. He's got to come up with the fake. It's 5 versus 12. YouTube gives it to LeBron. 66-34, closer than I thought. Hayes, what say you, LeBron or Rondo?
Man, this is more difficult for me than I thought, because I think there's a lot of higher seeded moves that I would actually vote Rondo's fake above. LeBron James chase down block, I'm not going to. Like I just can't. Like it is iconic. On top of that, it's so demoralizing. You know how many times players thought that they had an easy fast break dunk or layup, and here comes LeBron with the chase down block to completely kill it, and it gets the crowd into it, or gets the crowd down if it's in the opposing team's arena. But that fake by Rondo was so dangerous, and he caught so many players off of it. And the moves that he came off of with getting the ball to an open player, even getting a layup himself, was just great. So I would vote for Rondo against a lot of higher seeded moves, but not the chase down block, not for LeBron.
See, and I think this matchup's a little weak, and I think that whoever is losing to Kobe in the next round. But I was kind of going back and forth because AC8296 on YouTube told us it's not really a signature move if you don't do it regularly, and it's impossible for LeBron. Like LeBron didn't average like a chase down block a game, even in his prime, right? It's like an every now and again thing. But also, Dr. J did not have that scoop layup in every single game. So if we are judging it based off of it, if the one instance is so iconic. And it's the defining play of arguably the greatest finals of all time. He beat a 73-win team coming down from 3-1. And while Kyrie made the shot, that chase down block is it. And the athleticism he uses to catch up on that move, go back and watch it. It's unbelievable. There really will not be a more athletic play, I don't think, in NBA history than what LeBron does there. And it was so important. He was on the defensive end. So he goes over. One thing with Rondo's ball fake, really cool move, really neat. He didn't want to shoot. Like he never wanted to try a layup. So I can't really give him credit, because the core of this move is to fake a pass and try a layup, which he wasn't great at, to the point where he didn't want to. LeBron goes over.
That's a very good point. All right, we're out of time. If you like what you heard today, subscribe to Locked On NBA wherever you get podcasts, including YouTube. Vote in our second round. I'll have the polls up over the weekend. Thanks to Matt and Hayes for their expertise every day. Thank you for making Locked On NBA your first listen. Until next time, be kind to each other. We'll see you right back here to wrap up the week tomorrow on Locked On NBA.